Buenos días, tardes y noches. Soy Pablito de Latino Slant y también Midnight's Edge Español. ¿Cómo están todos? Bueno, we have a very special show. So let's bring in our co-host right away. It's Zorro time.
Nice. Pauli, what does the fox says?
No, Pablo.
What? What does the fox
Okay,
say?
he doesn't get the meme reference.
No, that's right. No, Pablo.
No, Pablo. No, Pablo.
¿Cómo estás, Dieguito?
¿Todo bien? Pablito, ¿cómo estás? Polly, how are you?
Bien, bien. Are you still in los Estados Unidos, Diego?
Yep. Now in Denver.
Nice. Are you having a good trip?
Yeah, so far, yeah. Just crazy weather here because it goes from 97 degrees all the way to the 50s at night.
Wow.
Chachay.
Bueno, este programa es especial, es diferente. Tenemos un watch party. La película se llama Mark of Zorro, 1920. 101 years ago. Wow.
Yeah. Filme muy especial. It's a very important film in so many ways.
En todas las maneras posibles. Empezó un poco lo que es las historias mexicanas en Hollywood. Y si es que te das cuenta, hay referencias a esta película, incluso en películas mucho más modernas, así que...
Sí.
Before we bring on our special guest, we have a couple of special guests. What I want you guys to do, and we'll explain it in Spanish as well, is I want you to hit this link here and open up, if you can, a separate window to watch the movie along with us. If you can't, don't worry. We're going to bring up the movie in our window as well. Obviously, we want to enjoy and discuss this movie, but we also want to get as many watch time hours as possible for the channel. So if you can help us out, that would be wonderful. Explícanos en español.
En español, ok. Por el momento vamos a mostrar la película aquí, pero no podemos compartir el sonido. Así que lo que recomendamos es que la gente siga el link que está en pantalla. Eso los va a llevar a la película subida en el canal principal de Midnight's Edge y para que puedan disfrutarla con audio. Y además eso de paso nos va a ayudar un poco con horas de tiempo de vistas. Así que eso nos ayudaría mucho en todo caso. Y bueno.
Solo como una nota adicional para en español, y también lo di en inglés, también aprovechen que estamos poniendo el link para los que puedan, porque como vamos a ver momentos vamos a estar discutiendo y poniendo pausa a la película para que nos puedan seguir cuando estemos discutiendo una escena y puedan tenerlo ahí en momento, porque también entendemos que cuando lo pongamos en pantalla tal vez no sea la mejor imagen de todas. Now in English. Also, for all those that are watching us, please, we recommend that you have to, if you can, have follow the link, have the film open, because during the discussion, we'll be pausing the movie at certain points to discuss certain scenes or certain context. And also, we understand that the image will not be as clear as possible while we put it here in our panel.
En portugués.
I can do it if you want.
Well,
Yeah,
let's not waste any time and bring on parte de la familia de español, el jefe de los jefes, Andre, y también Mexican Iron Man.
Buenos días a todos.
Buenos días.
Buenos días, jefe.
Hey, everybody. ¿Cómo están ustedes?
Hola.
The
Hola,
big
Mike.
boss is here. El gerente general, Andre. Okay, everybody, don't worry. Mexican Iron Man is going to be on his best Latino behavior.
That sounds absolutely perfect. So yeah, and I also just want to say I saw someone say that they're getting ready to see the movie on Amazon. Actually, I would recommend that you watch the movie On the link that we have right here, you can see the movie free on YouTube, and what we have found for you is the absolute best version of it available. By that we mean the most complete version, because there's actually two versions of this movie. There is a shortened version, which is still good, but it's shortened, so it's missing something. And it's the full experience. And that is the one that we're going to be showing right now. I don't know that the one on Amazon is the full experience. It might be, but then again, it might not. It's generally easier to get a hold of the shorter version than the full-length version, which is the one we have here. So I do recommend just opening a separate window in your browser, and you watch the movie there, so you can enjoy it in full screen or a bigger picture than we can bring right here, while you listen to us discuss it and everything. That is the way to go here.
So let's talk about the film, the 1920 film, the inspiration for making it, and then we can get into actually starting the movie. You have, Andre, you have a fascination with Zorro, I take it.
Yes, I think that Zorro is an amazing character. And I'm a huge fan of the period in which Zorro was created, which is basically in the time frame between up to like the 1930s, because Zorro was created in the year 1919. That was when he first appeared in the story The Curse of Capistrano. And that's an original story, and it was never meant to have any sequels or anything like that. So that was Zorro's one and only appearance. And this story was so huge, it was so popular, that it caught the attention of Douglas Fairbanks. And he was the Tom Cruise and Arnold Schwarzenegger of his day. He was the biggest movie star in Hollywood, which also meant that he was the biggest movie star on the planet, because it was 1919, 1920. There weren't so many movie stars at the time, so he was the closest one to it. And he wanted to up his game even more. He had a vision of taking things beyond just Hollywood and beyond just America. He wanted to be an action star worldwide. And for that, he needed a big, fun story. And he found it in The Curse of Capistrano. Of course, he wasn't too happy with the title, so it was him and his fellow partners in crime at the studio that decided on the new title, The Mark of Zorro. But the inspiration for the movie then was basically that it was a great vehicle for Douglas Fairbanks to become a huge star, a worldwide icon, and take his persona that had worked for him really, really well in Hollywood up to that point, and take it to a larger stage. So that's like the backdrop for the movie. But again, the character of Zorro, he has multiple inspirations. There is some Joaquin Murrieta in there, who is like the Mexican Robin Hood. You have the actual Robin Hood. You have Scarlet Pimpernel. So this then is written in an era of huge change. In the immediate aftermath, well, the Industrial Revolution was kind of over. But this was the transition between the old Wild West and the modern world. Everything was changing. It was like the biggest change ever experienced in human history in terms of technical evolution and societal change. All of that happened in those years, the 1910s, the 1920s, the 1930s. Those 3 decades were incredible for changing society. And the literature to come out of those 3 decades, to me, is the best literature ever made. Nothing made
music as well.
Since.
Music as well, with the advent of jazz and medicine as well.
This is true. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of those decades as well. Just on music and just the discovery, we really jumped You're right. You're absolutely.
It
The whole
was
world
the age
jumped.
of discovery, and that was also the time frame where one went to the North Pole, to the South Pole, to the top of Mount Everest. That was when the final part of discovery was made, was in that general age. That was the transition from, in a sense, the old world to the new world. And Zorro is one of the important transitional characters in this. And that's one of the things that I find so appealing about him.
Bueno, Diego, if you can like give us a little condensed of what Andre had said, that'd be great.
Ok, bueno, en español, lo que Andrew acaba de comentar es el hecho de que esta película está basada primero en una obra literaria que es la Maldición de Capistrano, que ahí es donde se aparece Zorro por la primera vez. Y Douglas Fairbanks, que era como la mayor estrella de cine en su momento, tomó este personaje y lo que quería ayudarlo a impulsar su carrera e impulsarlo de tal forma llegar a ser reconocido por todo el planeta, no simplemente en Estados Unidos como era en su momento. Y para dar una idea también para nuestros oyentes, Fairbanks era una combinación de lo que es Tom Cruise y Arnold Schwarzenegger actualmente. Fairbanks era eso y más. Pero también hay que entender la importancia de Zorro, así como del personaje, es el hecho que durante esta época es donde se aparecen algunas de las historias más importantes en la cultura popular en general. En esta era es donde vemos personajes aparecer, como también Conan the Barbarian, ahí aparece. Y también esta es una era de muchos cambios, no solo vemos influencias en la música, en las películas, en la ciencia, es una era de constante descubrimiento. Por 30 años vemos muchos cambios que aparecen y esto lo podemos ver también en la evolución de la cultura y las obras literarias. Y un poco que Zorro es digamos, el primer personaje que aparece durante esta era y que medio sigue avanzando por la era.
Well, Mexican Iron Man and Geek Tropology. Anything to add? I think we should get the movie started. But
I think we should just real quick. I just want to say, Andre, someone who's seen all the Zorro, the modern Zorro movies, and thinks that I thought I knew everything out there. Boy, oh boy, do I give a huge shout out to Midnight Edge to you for putting together that amazing video. Everybody, there's this amazing video in English, and we also have it in Midnight Edge en Español, in Spanish as well, where the true history and what Andre is talking about is really gone into in full scope. And here's what happened with me. When you dropped that video, Andre, on the main channel, and then Paul, you dropped it on, and the two of you dropped it on the Espanol side. I listened to it, both versions. It's amazing. The English version, it's just like the Spanish. It's just like the English. So it's incredibly well produced. But that made me want to go and watch the original movie, which I didn't do, but I did go read the Capistrano book. And boy, oh boy, I credit myself as being a huge Batman fan, a big, huge DC fan. I never added two and two together to realize before Batman, before Superman, before the Green Hornet, before the Shadow on the radio, which I've actually heard a lot of, if not all of the Shadow episodes on radio many years ago. There was Zorro. The original superhero, as I believe Andre kind of alludes to in the documentary that you did. So check those out too.
Yeah, it was indeed a transitional character. Like there were a couple of characters that were like the transition from the literary pulp genre into the comics. And the two in particular are Zorro and the Phantom, are the two transitionary. And the first of them, of course, then is Zorro. So without him, there wouldn't be any Batman. And without Batman, who knows how our cultural landscape would look like today.
Well, let's get things rolling, Mexican Iron Man. And I would
Before we get things rolling, there's one thing that we also have to say about the movie, because this is a movie that is from 1920. 1920 was before they invented filming in widescreen. It was before they invented filming in color. It was before they invented filming with sound. So at this time, the story had to be told visually through the acting. And also keep in mind, acting was different at the time. Many of the actors may, by modern standards, look to be overacting. They are not. This is how acting was done in 1920. Because up until this point, all acting had been done on a stage in a theater where people saw from a distance. There were no close-ups on the face or anything like that, meaning the actors had to express whatever they were expressing with their entire bodies and really exaggerated mimes of the face so that the audience would be able to see from a distance. Today, acting is much more subdued because we don't have only long shots. Now we have close-ups on the face for reactions and everything like that. That wasn't a thing yet. Actually, we start seeing some of it in this movie, and that's one of the innovations, that you have like more focus on the face and reactions, because this movie changed how films are made. Before this movie, a movie was basically a film stage production. After it was a movie, this set a template. But that is something to keep in mind as we watch the movie.
Wonderful. So when you feel like pausing the film to point something out, Andre, just let us know, and then we can do that. What else,
And
guys?
likewise, if you have any questions, and also you pause and
Okay,
go for
yeah.
it.
All right. So everyone, get to your Zorro windows. Start at 0. And
Y a disfrutar.
Mike, maybe we can do a countdown. How about that?
All right. 10, 9, 8. You still have my feed, don't you? 7,
It's up.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we go to the credit where it says based on the story of the Curse of Capistrano. And we hit play now. Do you have it up on your screen, Paulie, to share? Or do you see it?
It's not on
It
the
should-
stream. Yeah, it's not playing on the stream.
No, it's not playing. It's up there, but it's
up there, but it's not playing.
It's not
see
playing.
it? Hold on one second.
Okay, hold on, guys. Sorry about that.
Ok, mientras solucionamos los problemas técnicos, tal vez un poco hablar sobre esto. Yo tengo una conexión con la película por otro lado. Mi abuelo es nacido en 1917 y él creció con esta clase de cine todo el tiempo, y cuando yo era pequeño me mostraba feliz, especialmente tal vez un poco más hacia Tarzán, pero también le encantaba el zorro, y es increíble ver muchas de las cosas en esta época del cine, cómo las hacían, desde los props hasta utilería. Era completamente loco. Algunas cosas eran ridículamente peligrosas, como los floretes. Eran floretes de verdad. Y en Hollywood hubo algunos incidentes menores por eso. Y recuerdo mi abuelo hablándome de todas estas cosas. Era maravilloso realmente, así que hay esta conexión también. Tal vez los que somos más jóvenes no tenemos una conexión directa de haber vivido esa época, pero... Y perfecto, ahí está la película visible.
That's a nice story, man. Very nice. Okay, are we ready?
Ready.
Let's
We
go.
look ready. It looks to be playing already. So yeah, just give us a new countdown.
Let's do a
think
new
we have to,
countdown. Make sure we have the sound as well.
Now we don't need the sound. Like the audience can have the sound. On the sound, I will also say that the version that we have is the one with the absolute best sound and the best soundtrack. You won't find any better out there.
Okay. Looks great.
But we didn't get the countdown. Is there any way we can go back to the beginning and do a new countdown, Mike?
Yeah, okay, hold on.
Or is that going to screw everything up?
I can do it. Say the word and I'll do it right now, but it'll take 30 seconds.
Would.
All right, hold on.
All right, so we are going back now. Anything else, Diego or Pablo?
I think not for the moment in my part, because mine, I think, is my experience with Zorro is more related, will be more connected to the other part that we talk about, the retrospective, than of this movie in specific. Pablo, tú.
No, tal vez me queda un poco la pica de hablar sobre el fantasma que camina, pero eso lo podemos hacer después.
Sí, exacto.
Sí, básicamente eso. Crecí con la serie de los 90s. Era excelente. Si es que no la han visto, por favor, consíganla. Es ridícula, es graciosa, los actores son fenomenales y era en la época en las que las traducciones al español eran excelentes, así que no, en serio, en la época en la que Fox todavía no arruinaba las cosas con el doblaje, los doblajes eran espectaculares acá de películas, eran increíbles. Si es que ustedes, por ejemplo, buscan Cantando bajo la lluvia, Singing in the Rain, la traducción es fenomenal, las canciones son increíbles, es hermoso. Era realmente arte.
Sí. Eso sí, es verdad que antes había un toque especial que les daban a los doblajes. Y que lo hacía especial para todos.
Sí.
All right, and I think that we are ready. I think we have a request for a countdown, so let's do the countdown. So everyone, open the browser window where you'll watch the movie while you listen to us, and be ready to press play in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. And here we are. Now we are at the opening credits, photographed by William McCann and Harry Thorpe. So that's good and well. And then, of course, we have the cast. Notice that here you have almost everyone that will appear on screen right here. So again, quite different from what credits look like today. At this time, the entire credits were actually in the beginning of the movie and not the end of it, because it was fewer people involved. Have we paused it? Because
Yep,
it seems...
it's paused.
Okay. Well, then we paused it for some reason at exactly 50 seconds. So for anyone wanting to time it, it's there.
No se preocupen. Problemas técnicos podría ser peor. Podríamos estar tratando de hacer la película en vivo. Así que...
Okay, and then we are back again now at the opening title screen where it says, "In California, nearly 100 years ago." So this would then be in the 1820s, where they give a setting of a mystery masked rider who is essentially a highwayman protecting the innocent. Because at this stage, the government of California is tyrannical. So I guess not much has changed. But that's neither here nor there. And then we have the title of the movie, The Mark of Zorro. So that's where we are right now. And this is something unusual. Notice like how close the shot is to his face, and he even has like a scar makeup effects, because he has obviously been wounded by Zorro, who has left his signature mark, relaying the story of what happened and how horrible that was to his fellow soldiers. All horrified. How could someone do that? Scar him for life. But of course, the natives, they don't think it's horrible at all. They say what's going on. That for no cause, that man beat up a native and maimed him for life. Now he is the one who bears the mark of Zorro. establishing right away that Zorro is the protector of the innocent, meaning the natives, and not the enforcers of the tyrannical government.
Right, which is a huge thing to recognize, that he's a defender of basically, you know, the low class, the people that do the work.
Yes.
Not just the wealthy and well off Californios.
Yeah, and marked different from, for instance, the Scarlet Pimpernel, who defended the rich from the filthy, unwashed masses in the French Revolution. And again, here we then, of course, have the contrast to the rich and the corrupt government that we see there right now, annoyed with this disturbance, because he's a threat to the order.
So this is the governor who's up north, is that correct?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And this as a time when California was under Mexican rule, because now this takes place around the 1820s to 1840s, thereabouts is where we are in history. But for the natives, for the poor and downtrodden, Zorro, of course, is the defender, the only friend of the people. Something also to notice here is the variety of sets and the quality of sets, which is something also unusual for this time, that there was this many sets and of this quality. And here we also have the Polidos, who are very, very important in the story. Now, this is a family that used to be noble. They used to be haves. They came to America basically as royalty, but they didn't maintain it. And now they've lost everything. So they have their name, they have their stature, but they don't have the money to go with it. And the only way to maintain their status in society is for the daughter to marry. But we'll get into that later. And then we see him, Captain Gonzalez, or Sergeant Gonzalez, rather. And notice what kind of a bully he is here. In later adaptations, he's typically portrayed as Mendoza or some variation, big, fat, friendly guy. No. This is a tough guy. And look at this guy. What a great actor. This is Noah Beery Sr., and he's a huge star of his time. At the time, he was just Noah Beery. He became senior when his actor Junior became huge later on. But just look at this guy. Look at the acting, how he establishes how he is the absolute dominant alpha male.
It's amazing.
I mean, this is acting. This is one of the absolute best actors of his day. And how he's bragging, like, good thing this Zorro hasn't met me. I would do something different to him. I'd carve my own name all over his body. And then just look at the acting of this guy as he mimics what he's going to do. Constantly bragging. Asserting his position as not only the sergeant, but the ultimate alpha male.
Now, these are other Californios, other noblemen, or are they?
No, these are soldiers.
These are soldiers.
These are all soldiers. Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out the hats.
Yeah,
I
no, they're
love those
soldiers.
props.
Yeah.
That sword is amazing.
Yeah, and here, of course, comes someone who's shielded from the sun, and we established right away he came from Spain. So this is
Right.
someone who can travel back and forth between America and Spain, because he's been in Spain to get an education. So he is, of course, a Californio, and an extremely wealthy one, a milksop. It's like really, really posh, really delicate, has to shield himself from the sun, don't care about everything. Of course, it's all an act. But again, just notice the acting there.
And this sets up, like, future heroes as far as their alias.
Yes, this was done here. This is where you have that thing of the alter ego with the playboy. This right here is proto Bruce Wayne. And notice how this tough and brash sergeant, he's like, he's my friend because he's going to buy me drinks because he has money for it. And of course, going to look what this Zorro butthole is doing to my men. Little does he know. And yeah, where is Zorro? Yeah, because he's traveling around the towns like Capistrano, which were established around church parishes. And he's traveling around there. And then, of course, thinking that Diego is his friend, he'll go and reveal all the plans of what they're planning to do. So a nice way to leak it all to the enemy right away. And here, of course, you then have Douglas Fairbanks. And this is why he was popular. It was that boyish smile and his demeanor of everything is a joke. Nothing is serious. So that's something that was kind of like his stage persona. That's what he was famous for. This is what he wanted to bring to the whole world. But again, here we have the sergeant showing what he's gonna do with Zorro. But don't worry, Diego. Like, just don't worry. I'm just showing. Don't be scared. Buy me drinks.
So he's kind of this jokester, maybe like Tony Stark on the MCU.
Yes. He's also exactly. Yeah, he's Tony Stark. He's a jokey guy like Tony Stark.
Nice.
Exactly like Tony Stark. That is entirely the right connection. He's like, yeah, here's your drink.
Salud.
And this is why they like him. The soldiers, that is.
And
this is how he'll also make sure they feed him information.
And also completely separates any possibility that Zorro could be connected to him.
Yeah, exactly. And look at this acting, just showing what he wants to do with Zorro.
Nicolas Cage has been trying to get this acting back for years.
Yeah. But keep in mind, this is 1920. This is world-class acting. I mean, this is the Al Pacino and Robert De Niro of the time.
Just amazing. The artillery in this is fantastic. Well, it was theater artillery, so I guess.
But this movie took it to a whole new level with the sets, because this is the template for the modern action hero movie. No other movie from this time had sets and everything like this. Look at the floors, look at the tables. This was authentic. This is what things looked like, not just in 1920 when it was made, but it looked like that in 1870, 1890, probably 1840. This is a very authentic look at what interior of a bar or restaurant would have looked like, approximately 1820.
Well, if you are in Ecuador, you can get still something like this.
And again, here they talk about Zorro as this legend, as a myth, as a ghost. He knows everything. He knows where to show up, and he disappears. And of course he knows. Diego has been fed the information by getting soldiers drunk. Oh, but they heard something. What happened? Yeah, and again, you see the attitude. Like, there's a pleb. No respect there. They're not there to protect her and serve. Maybe the government, but not the pleb, not the people.
Say also, have you noticed the fact they made him much smaller than the sergeant to even make it even more noticeable? The difference?
Yes. Yeah. And they found such a big, strong man to play the sergeant for a reason. I mean, Noah Beard, he was a big man. He could break any man in a fight. And that's who they cast for that role.
I mean, the casting's phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal. I mean, on all levels. Look at this guy's face. Is a woman, or is that a guy?
No, I think it's a guy. But again, this is new. This zoom in on faces and facial expressions. If you go to other movies from 1920, they didn't have that, not to the same extent. See there, they are so spooked by Zorro. He was like halfway worried. Shit, is it Zorro? No, can relax.
And what does this say? Yeah, look at the English.
Yes, you notice there? It was Spanish first to indicate to the audience at this time, this was a Mexican nation. They spoke Spanish. And this is their way of establishing that. Note just that transition and the authenticity, just establishing these people, they speak Spanish. All the writing here is in Spanish. And that's how they established it for an English-speaking audience.
Me encanta que diga gratificación y no recompensa. Es de mucho antes de nuestra época, cuando el español todavía era bonito.
And again, now they're brash and brave, and they can brag and everything. It wasn't Zorro.
Yeah, they're all not scared for the moment.
Yeah, except the one that's met him, who says, "Well, go and beat up a native and see what happens."
Fascinating, right? Because look at there's the natives.
There you have the natives.
Oh.
Many of them in brown face.
And he crosses himself. Notice the native crosses himself. Thought that was interesting. I remember seeing that.
Sí, ya es católico.
Yeah. Not only that, it's because it said in the text before, beat up a priest or a native. So they make the connection even more between.
Yes.
Look who shows up.
And Batman.
Batmanuel.
He really just...
Yeah. And again, notice how he is using the cigarette. This is not something that is in the original story, The Curse of Capistrano. This is actor Douglas Fairbanks. That's his way of showing, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. That's what he's trying to establish here by going in like, this is nothing. I'm just going to close the door so you guys can't escape.
Scared guy in the corner.
He's like, he looks like he saw a ghost, basically.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And carving his signature mark, the
Z.
And also the costume is an invention for this movie. Zorro did not look like this in the original story. So this was all Douglas Fairbanks in this movie that created the image of Zorro that we know today, came from this movie. Including that it was all black. Because it isn't all black, not on set. And you see that in the posters too. It's actually blue, green, and red. But it looks black. And that is the image that was left over for Zorro ever since. It's because this is a black and white movie, and audiences didn't pay too much attention to that his suit is actually in color. In color, he looks more like a luchador than he does the Zorro that we know today. But that's one
Right.
of the happenstance of it being filmed in black and white, or sepia, as the case may be.
Mhm. But I think people also, like, afterwards they kept it black because not only does it look good, but you think about it, if he has to be a character that comes out in the night, what better color than black?
Dark blue.
True.
Dark blue is a better color than black. Black actually stands out, even in night. That's actually a myth, but yeah, it's just that this movie was such a huge hit, and it captured the attention of the audience and the audience imagination, and they saw him like this in black, so that even when color was an option, they kept this look in black because by then it was standard, even though he looked like a luchador on set.
Also, the color scheme reminds me a lot to Robin Hood. You know,
Yes.
Green Man in tights.
Yes, and of course, the Robin Hood was an inspiration. But also look that he's not brutal. He doesn't kill him. He humiliates. He humiliates, and he has fun with them because that is the weapon. It's not just to brutally defeat the enemy. It's to make them powerless by making jokes out of them.
Do you notice that the sabers don't have any kind of protection on the point?
What I notice is, like you're saying,
Yeah,
is that
yeah, I
he's-
see that. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
they
also-
used
Well,
to
they-
have
they-
a
they
lot
have
of
there.
issues there.
yeah. Actually, they do, but it's not ideal. But yeah, through like that particular brand of swords, you have gone through many different iterations. They're not an expert. You have it, but again, there carves his C. And also notice how he wears a gun. In his earlier iterations, Zorro did use a gun.
Mhm.
It was only later that he stopped using that.
I mean, in the original cover of the book, he has it's the character with the gun.
Yes.
Already.
oh, and he's laughing this whole time.
Mhm.
Speak to how physically fit Fairbanks is at this time, and
This
what-
is his
and-
prime, and he's a very fit man. You see, he's jumping. Just
Mhm.
look at that jump. There was no effects there. This is a very acrobatic man who works out. I mean, literally, this is the Tom Cruise and the Schwarzenegger of his day. Well, actually, Noah Beery, who plays Sergeant Gonzalez, he may be the Schwarzenegger of his day, but that's certainly the Tom Cruise, the acrobat.
Mhm.
And how big of a deal was that? How, like he's
It was
like the Rock.
unseen.
He's like the
It was
Rock.
unseen before. No one had seen action like this on a film before. This is the first time. This is the template for action movies. Yeah, of course, you had fight scenes and stuff like that before, filmed from a distance, but jumping like that, jumping such a far distance down. Obviously, this is just look at that. Look how he jumped up there, like Jackie Chan. There's no stunt involved with that. There's no stunt man. That's him. And then, of course, you had Buster Keaton and many others that would do similar things later. But this is where they would draw the inspiration from. All the modern movies, how a modern action adventure film is made, from Indiana Jones to earlier Zorro, it all can be traced back to this. This is the movie that set the template. Again, look at him. Everything is a joke.
Mhm.
This has so much to do with the MCU. Every single character that they have done big is kind of that.
This is the template for
Yeah.
the superhero.
Mhm.
But
And
you
the
know,
final insult before he leaves out the notes. Just look at that. Can't believe that he happened to just beating up the people, but he blamed for it.
Okay, tell us about is this color change part of the original film, or is this just a copy? Because we go to sepia to like a blue tint here.
Yeah, this is actually something that you will see in many movies of the day, and there are a couple of reasons for it. Part of it was an artistic choice, because this is when they changed film rolls. Because they couldn't play like a whole film. You had like the projector, right? And you had to like push the button when it goes from one film roll to another. And they could be printed in different colors, but they could also do it deliberately to create some kind of variation for the audience. Plus, they would also use that to emphasize mood and a tone. This was done to great effect in, for instance, Nosferatu, which would be made 3 years after this. But you have the same thing here. Here you basically change between sepia and black and white. I honestly do not know if that is a choice from the director or if it comes from different prints being assembled at different times to make the ultimate cut of the movie. That I honestly cannot answer. But all of that typically would go into changing the color changes between film rolls. And also, again, look at these sets. Look at the authenticity.
If we guide ourselves for the settings, they are keeping the sepia tone for the interiors and the blue tone for the exterior shots.
That could be what they're doing, yes. This is something we can easily see. And of course, now here, you'll notice that that now Diego is back home again with his father, which is then De la Vega Sr. And like every other later trope where you have the son who is a superhero, you see this in He-Man and everything as well. The father is the one very often who has built the wealth, is very disappointed in the son, who comes across as a lazy bum, basically, inherited everything. And you have the same dynamic here. In fact, this is what started it for much to come, where you have the son who is a super, but notice there how he instantly went into character, came out of his hiding place alert. But now he's in his room. Now he goes into the character of Diego, yawning. Everything is a joke.
And also, too, I take it Bernardo is the only person that knows about Zorro.
Yes. And there's the father complaining. You have now been in Spain for years. You've gotten your education. You've been back here for 3 months now. And you're just a lazy bum. Do something. Go get married. Give me a grandchild. Like the family fortune has to live on through the next generation. And you can't do that if you just continue being like a bachelor. Get married and give me grandkids. Let the lineage continue. So you have like this very class society as well.
My grandfather had a thought like that to me a while ago.
My family still speaks like that.
Yeah.
And there you also have him, because he knows that he's hyper rich. And he also knows that most women, they will go with him for the money, but he doesn't want that. But again, the father has organized for him to go with the daughter of the Polidos. Now remember what we said before. It says right here, they have good blood, meaning they have a name. Their family has a history, but they've been unfortunate, so now they're poor. But they are still an acceptable match for a marriage. So he basically says, go with that one. Yeah, fine, they don't have money, but she's an acceptable match, so go get hitched and give me a grandchild. Carry on the House of Vega.
He knows his sciences, though. Normal people will not be able to do a parachute on that time.
No, but that's his point. This is an educated man, like Batman and like Tony Stark. He's been to university in Madrid. And the only ones that could do that in California in the 1820s, 30s, 40s that could go back to Madrid and take a multiple-year education there was the absolute cream of the crop. That's what we're learning. And of course, in Madrid, that's also where he learned to fight, where he learned to fence from the best masters in the world, which also makes him one of the best fighters in the world and unparalleled by any of the other fighters in California. That's also the point. So you see, everything is thought through.
You see, whenever they are in the outside, they change completely the tone.
Yes, you are right. That is deliberate. To change to tacitly change from, you saw it right there,
Change
from
the lighting.
natural light to the
Yeah.
indoor light.
So this manages concepts that were applied on the 60s.
Yeah, it predates everything. And of course, here then is the organized state. Again, this is a class society. And the upper echelons, they have to keep their blood pure, keep the pleb out. So neither him nor the Pulido daughter can go with anyone below their station. And the fact that they may not choose each other, that doesn't matter. The parents are the ones that make that matching. They just kind of have to make it work.
Ay, pero mijito, tienes que conseguir una niña bien, que sea educada, que sepa hacer las cosas. ¿Qué va a hacer? ¿Qué vas a tener en la vida? A una mamarracha ahí estorbándote, mejor te consigues una buena mujer. Yeah, I have heard that all my life.
And have you noticed how interesting is the fact that Fairbanks' hairstyle that when he is Diego de la Vega?
Yes.
It makes it look like he was balding, but at the same time, it's not.
He has a bit of the...
Of a flair.
Yeah, exactly. The Independence Prosser kind of hairstyle, you know? The hero on the painting.
Yeah, this is the Clark Kent hairstyle. You see also, this is him pretending to be the dork, to be the Clark Kent. And you also see that here you have the same kind of dynamic that is with Clark Kent and Lois Lane, at least as it was in the beginning. He is pretending to be a dork. He likes her, but he doesn't want her to like him for the money. So he comes across as this uber dork that she can't possibly like.
Oh, I'm gonna have a Moonlight Serenade coming up.
Dieguito, creo que por ahí nosotros también nos identificamos.
Yeah. See.
I'm very passionately fond of music. They're talking about their servants.
Yeah, the life and the troubles of the rich and the wealthy. The people that we today watch on the hills and the Kardashians and other such reality shows today.
No.
This is the contemporary equivalent.
I don't see this guy twerking. Just saying.
He'd probably do the 1820s equivalent, but also look here, they're only talking about their wealth and how rich they are, but there's very little personal connection. It's just a matter of, oh, look how good a match I am, or rather...
Curious note, at the time, because my grandfather actually had a copy of one of those books, when they taught about courting a woman, and you're a man, especially of wealth, it said you had to introduce yourself by putting your money on the table. You couldn't show who you are.
And you saw that's what he's doing. That's what they're both doing, talking about their wealth. And of course, now again, he's going to show what a complete dork he is. At the same time, trying to make her smile. Now the money has been shown on the tables. Now other matters can be done. With limited success. And notice how they film, how awkward it is. How often do you think you would see scenes like this in a movie from 1920 outside of this one?
Not many, really.
Yeah, because he's the hero. So usually it would be, from the beginning, there would be a connection most of the times, I imagine.
And keep in mind, this is before Clark Kent. This is before Bruce Wayne. Yeah, Bud by Production says, even in a silent film, you felt that awkward silence.
Yes.
And there, formalities has been done. The couple destined to hopefully be married have met. Now it's just a matter of following through.
And also too, back to the sets. This is pretty lavish. The indoor sets, all the furniture, and
The house.
the house. No,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
at that time, having a house that big and with walls was a real luxury.
Yeah.
And also, what they would do here, keep in mind, this was filmed in 1920, thereabouts. The people that decorated this, they wouldn't decorate it as it was then. They would have a fairly good idea how things were supposed to look 100 years ago. They had grandparents to ask. They had people to know this. They would fill all the sets with furniture and stuff that actually was 100-year-old at the time. So this is the furniture and stuff is that old, making this authentic. And of course, now when money has been established, Diego, he liked the girl, so now he's going to charm her. He wants the woman to like her, but for him, without knowing it's him. So now begins the courtship process, the real one. Today it would be extremely problematic.
He will be in jail.
Somebody's Pepe Le Pew over there in that moment.
Yep.
But of course, the family, the Pulido parents, they're desperate to get in good grace with the governor so that they can have some of the sweet, sweet tax money from the people and get back into wealth again. So Zorro only has a limited time to do his courtship, so he better make the most out of it.
But this shows just how calculating Diego Vega is in the end. Because he goes for the courtship as showing the money. Then he comes to this, and he knows he just has time because he knows he's going to be seen. And then...
Just like Batman later on, a master planner, never taken by surprise.
Exactly.
And knows exactly the right things to say, to be mysterious.
No, señorita, you are too wonderful.
Making her feel important.
Mm-hmm.
And desired. Which is something he, as Diego, did not do. Not in the slightest. Like, my daddy wants me here. So, yeah. So notice the contrast in approach. Whereas he spurts then the romantic poetry of how I guess couples actually did court at this time.
We will, okay, about what he's saying here in Ecuador, we will say, tiene labia.
Mm-hmm.
Tiene labia.
In Peru, it's like tiene flor. But it's basically that. He knows how to talk, is what we're trying to say.
He knows how to be a charmer.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I'm sure he picked up quite a few things while at uni in Madrid. And now, notice again the poor downtrodden native servant informing, just notice the class there, who's the servant and who's the master. Soldiers are on their way. and again charming her. He went to Spain to learn how to fight. And even there, no eyes like hers, ever the charmer. There's some Don Juan in him as well.
Totalmente.
Andre, didn't you go to school in Spain?
No, I went to school in England.
Oh.
Sorry to disappoint you. But I did find my Spanish señorita there. So there's that.
Nice. Nice.
Aha! Ever the charmer, Andre.
Ever the charmer. And also other references to literature. That was a reference to Cyrano de Bergerac by Victor Hugo, the French novel. And Cyrano de Bergerac was not a very pretty man. He was a very popular man, a man who could do anything, but he wasn't a pretty man. So that's like the joke there. Again, only emphasizing, like me for me, not my looks or anything like that. And you see, she opens up to him. Here's the third person in the love triangle, Captain Ramon, who also wants her.
Here's the first time you see another part of the costume that's like iconic is the fact that his gloves, because in the first scene where he appeared, he didn't have the gloves.
Yeah. So Zorro is already far away by the time they came. Full control at all times. Always one step ahead. Or 3 steps.
I see some things Mexican Iron Man can add to his repertoire. I think I need a horse. I think I need a horse for my chivalry work with the ladies.
Iron Horse.
Also notice how he jumped off that horse while it was moving.
Yeah, that's a lot of skill. I've ridden horses during my childhood because my grandfather, and the sheer fact of how much it takes just to sometimes keep in pace with the horse when you're riding, to do that and at the same time get off of it in movement takes a lot of practice and a lot of broken bones.
And also, as Dark Shadow points out, look at these sequences in one continuous shot. No BS cutaways. Yeah, MTV-style editing hadn't come in to destroy cinema yet.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
And then, of course, the third person in the triangle between Pulido and Zorro/Diego, plus Captain Ramon, who also courts her. And again, he's not the first choice of the family because he's not a rich man. He doesn't have any name, but he is high up in the tyrannical Californian government, which also would gain them favor. So for the parents, he too would be an acceptable, not an ideal, but an acceptable match. Not as good as Diego, but he was something of like a wet fish. So if that doesn't work out, it's good to have him as a backup. So also notice what opportunists the parents are to keep their position in society or to regain it. And they know their only means of being able to do that is through their daughter and having her married. Which, of course, is a sad reflection on society. That's what society was. Still is in many classes.
Yes.
I love the music.
This is why I chose this version of the movie. This is what you're seeing right now is the absolute definitive version, music and all.
Oh, look.
Zorro is back again.
And as always,
Dude, he is so
smoking and
cool.
playing. Yeah, he's
He's
amazing.
so cool.
I mean, also the lighting on him when he appears is so perfect
Mhm.
because it sort of makes him stand out even more.
Andre or Pablo, I'm not sure who's the best to answer this question. What I've noticed is the amazing. This isn't black and white, but look at the amazing.
Sepia.
I'm sorry,
Sepia.
sepia. Is that
Yeah.
what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Whatever. Okay. My question is: look at the amount. Look at the quality of the costuming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not dealing with a 4K full digital here, but so much of the detail of these costumes comes out due to the quality. I mean, God, the costume departments must have been amazing back then, yeah?
Yeah. And again, this is authentic. This is
Mhm.
how it actually looked. Again, this is filmed in 1919, 1920, right in the shift between the two. But it takes place 100 years before, and they knew how things looked like back then. So they've been extremely meticulous about getting it right, because they know that people who are watching, the audience, the grandparents there, they might not have been alive in 1820, but they would have been alive in 1850.
And for this time, this quality of costumes, these are tailor-made and are top of the line. The materials, the fabrics, and everything is just amazing. Whoever did this was a professional tailor.
Yes. Also, it's very possible that these are authentic costumes that have been lying in storage for 100 years or 60, 70 years. And they got them at like a sale or something of the old garrison selling out their spare parts. That's also very possible.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly the furniture, that is authentic. It's easy
Yeah.
to find stuff that old at that time.
Well, it's kind of normal in my household, but that's because my family is old, really old, and we have 200 years tables and stuff. So
Exactly. And a 200-year table, like this takes place 200 years ago. So those tables would be exactly right. I'm sure the table you were seeing right here, that might have been then like your 200-year-old table. It will look like something like that.
I will send you photos. Yeah, it's contemporary to this.
And also this architecture is very, very typical Spanish architecture as well, which of course is what influenced the architecture of the haciendas in California and other places in Mexico and further down where you had immigrants coming in, or immigrants, conquistadores, whatever you would call it, that came from Spain, the really wealthy ones. They would bring the Spanish architecture with them, and that's what we're seeing here. I recognize it because I've also seen much of that similar architecture in older houses in Tenerife and the Canary Islands. It looks also just like this.
That's basically my whole city. If you go to El Centro Histórico, it's just that. You see churches and houses like that everywhere. It's just mind-blowing. But yeah, you see the balcones, everything is so perfect. So this feels natural to me, actually.
Yeah, and also, as Eth points out, clothing and furniture was made to last back then. Yes, indeed, it would be rare that you bought new clothes. So the ones that you made, that was sturdy stuff, and it was meant to last. Like much of the furniture here is 100, 150 years old. The house they're filming in could be 200 years old, even when they're filming it. And that's how you get that level of authenticity.
Also, have you noticed the fact that the family, the servant, they try to make him more culturally like them? And when you contrast him with, for example, Bernardo, who still looks more like a native.
Yeah, and also goes to show that they don't want to be offended by the look of the natives. And also look at the meticulous clothing that she has. And what we have today, my God, how far in time we have gone backwards.
Yep. And she herself is a great actress. You know that sad face like, oh, my Prince Charming.
And these, of course, are stage actors, but now they know they have a camera that's zooming in on their face, which is something new, and they have to try to adapt to it. Mike, you were saying?
No, I said it's very impressive how these stage actors are able to really, I mean, you're really getting the vibe of this. It's amazing because I can't hear any sound is so much a part of movies today. Yet I'm watching this, but I feel like I'm hearing what they say with and without the cue cards even.
That's the impressive part that I think too. And that's also what makes the movie work in any language, because it's a purely visual and visceral experience.
Yes.
And just look at the face of this downtrodden servant that we just had there in the background.
Yeah, nowadays movies are, if you remove the effects, are silly people doing silly stuff. If you saw this, well, the film was being made, you will see a theater play. You will see something amazing there. No green screens, no silly things, just people acting.
Someone in chat asked for the
budget. I do not know what the budget was.
I can't find
honestly, it kind of doesn't matter what it was. I will say that it was extremely high for the time. This was a blockbuster movie, but you can't really compare because it was made by like 100 people as opposed to 1,000 today. So it's a completely different economy. It's a completely different currency. Yeah, and it's still technically US dollars. But just because of inflation and everything like that, you can't really compare.
Right.
So suffice to say that this is the first blockbuster movie with the first blockbuster budget. So it would have been the most expensive movie made up till this point. And exactly what that means, maybe it costs like $10,000 or something. But again, that doesn't mean anything if you just say the number today because of inflation and everything like that. And I don't know that it was 10,000. That's just a guess. Point is, it doesn't, just go with this. It was the most expensive movie at the time because it was the most thorough movie at the time. A movie like this had never been made before.
And it looks like there's multiple shooting of the same scenes because the editing is so tight.
Also new. Before this, movies looked like literally film stage plays. But here you have so many different scenes, shots, zoom-ins, all the stuff that we take for granted today. This is where it began.
The same would be true with the editing then, I assume, yes?
Yeah. This was the movie that took filmmaking up to a whole different level.
Rick Sanchez says, beat his ass, Zorro, beat his ass. That's what Rick Sanchez is saying in chat. Rick Sanchez earlier said when Zorro was rapping Mackin at her, he's like, where's your consent, sir? Look at that, the Z, look at that, look how vivid that is. Just like in the book.
Yeah, and Mike, of course, you, like me, you've read the book.
Yeah.
Is this not an amazingly true adaptation of it?
It's weird, Andre. I mean, it's so weird.
I mean, imagine if they could do things this true to the source material today. Yeah, it's a little bit different, but not much different. I mean, most of the beats are there, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And it's whizzing along. See, when I'm glad I hadn't seen this movie until now because I'm experiencing it live for the first time. And I did read the book first. So, and what got me to read the book, like I said, I think I said this at the top of the show, but it was
you said it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was your narrative, your video. When I heard it in English, I said, "Oh, maybe I should read the book." Then I heard it in Spanish again. I'm like, "Okay, I got to read the book now." And yeah,
And again, just look at this. There's no question who is the dominant person in this situation. Even with no words that we can hear, you still feel what's going on. You feel the power and the tension.
take a knee, buddy. Take a knee.
Exactly. Take a knee, and it
In
means
defeat.
apologize. Take a knee in defeat.
And in respect to my lady.
And he can never have her now, because now he's humiliated in front of her. And that's going to make him twice as angry. And then
Get out of
kicked
there.
out. The humiliation is complete.
He could have killed him, but he didn't. That shows mercy and kindness.
Mhm.
Oh boy, you guys think I was something fierce before. Wait till Mexican Iron Man adds this to his repertoire, buddy. Look out, boys.
I mean, also, it's interesting the contrast of the fact of how the Captain Ramon is very boorish, okay, and even a bit brutish when he tries to court her. Meanwhile, Zorro and also Diego are a different kind. They're more subtle. They're more, they have class.
Yeah.
I love that.
But notice that in his first, he was like really bullish and everything. But now, when he needs to be, when he has her attention, now he's the perfect gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I give
That's
you
what
freely.
that's what you have to do when courting. You have to be like a little bit, push it a little bit to begin with, and then when you can, that's when you turn on the charm.
There's your consent, Richard Sanchez, PhD. I give you my kiss freely.
Okay, guys, are you do you know beat theory on filmmaking?
I probably do, but not in with those words.
Yeah, this follows beat theory to a point. It's just perfect. Every time you have a sad scene, you have something funny afterwards, or you have something that connects the emotion. They don't miss a beat ever.
Yeah, no, and that book was basically made in conjunction with this movie. Because again, all of those things, it was a gradual process to get to how to make a movie, get all the beats
Look at that.
right.
Look at that. That's how
And
Midnight
this, yeah.
I was going to say, that's how Midnight Saints does things. Leaves them wanting more. Look at that. He leaves. I'm a man with a purpose. I got to
And
go.
look at that acting.
Mexican Iron Man con capa y sombrero. I like it.
Look out, man. I'm going to change. I may change my look after this. When Moni comes to the lead on romance speed high, and she told the tale of Zorro's coming. Oh, now she's spreading the gospel. Look.
El Iron Zorro.
No. We're going to stick with the Iron Man. I just might change my hat. Look at that.
Might get the black cat.
There you go. Look at the body language. Look, she's reenacting. Look how she's reenacting it.
And reenacting the nobility.
He was so amazing. Death Zorro has my heart. Look, and they're engaged, they're entranced, they're incredulous. You feel all kinds of words when you look at there. Who is this? There's an air of mystery, awe.
And the parents are of mixed feelings, because at one hand, they want their daughter to marry into money and prestige.
Yes.
At the same time, they admire this man. There's no money in it, but they admire him.
Oh, that's just another day at the park for me, Andre. That's how it's been my whole life. Yeah. Kidding, sort of.
This guy again.
I would like to see Mexican Iron Man in one of these outfits, though. Just
I need to lose more weight, Polly.
Just saying.
See me,
California Iron Man.
see me at the end of the summer, maybe in the fall. I need a few more months here, buddy.
Yeah. Notice his stance. But notice how he walks with his back bent. He walks in a submissive way, just to transmit to everyone he's non-threatening. He's a submissive follower.
He can't
And
even
also
hold his
total
hat
geek.
right.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas as Zorro, back straight,
Mm.
dominant, projecting
The
power.
original beta.
Not only that. I mean, but not only that. Look
The
how he
original
walks,
beta.
like his legs, how he moves his
Okay.
legs.
Mhm.
There's a difference
Yeah.
between how with Zorro you feel the power when he steps. Here it's like he's trying to not to glide, you know, not trying to really put a hard step on the floor.
Exactly. This guy right here is the first OnlyFan beta.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Sí.
I'm telling you. Fray Felipe's, was that a bar? Did I miss?
Fry.
No, probably it's a friar that
Yeah.
that liked his drink.
No, he is kind of less than a priest.
Oh,
in the order.
let me take
Yeah.
your sulking hat, you loser.
No, because but also remember at that time, like it was at that time the friars they were the ones who also made liquor.
Oh,
They made beer. They made mead.
yes.
So
Exactly. Exactly.
Elijah Snow points out that's the original Urkel body language right there.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Hey, I'm just repeating what Elijah said.
No, but he's right. But that's like the thing. You see, and that's the subtle thing right there, how he's acting, doing the Urkel to make himself look more timid and stupid and pathetic. So they only respect him for his money, and that's it. But that's his whole character. Deliberate, a ruse
No,
to
they have,
distract from him being Zorro.
I mean, it just shows you how influential this movie is, because so many things can be traced back to it in the end. Not
Yeah.
just heroes, but other like other characterizations, other types of acting. They can be traced down to this.
And Diego, if you have noticed, there's anime tropes here. Anime
Yes.
tropes from this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the origin to so many things in culture.
come on, what are you gonna do? This is the original SJW guy right here.
Exactly. Be a man is what you're trying to tell
Oh,
us.
hold on, I need a keyboard or a typewriter or whatever an abacus or whatever
No,
they
no,
had back
quill
then.
and paper.
He's
Quill
the
and paper.
he's the California kibblesmith.
Oh, Paulie with the home run hit over the back wall at Dodger Stadium. Ouch.
You're actually right. I have loads of money, but complete and total whimpering.
Freaking Paulie.
It was perfect.
Yeah. Because
Kibblesmith.
you know, because
Say
the
it
other
3
funny
times.
thing, I mean, the other funny thing is about that culturally speaking, Diego. Okay, he would be the most hated member of society also because supposedly the people higher up, the boys especially, are taught to be more manly, you know, to impose themselves against others, not be like this.
Yeah. Again, that is why Mother is so disappointed. He like told even be manly. Have some more fire in your blood. Like, don't be like this weak milksop.
Look how guarded
It's a
she is.
disappointment to everyone. And his plan is working.
Look at his eyes.
His smirk.
Look, back turned. She's holding her hands over her abdominal area, which is a classic female sign of rejection and of being guarded. I watch the behavior panel on YouTube all the time. That's how I know that.
Yeah. But again, also they knew this. The acting, it's all there.
Yeah.
Signify every single way that it's
Oh,
just money,
what's that?
no one wants him.
Snorting
Uh-oh.
tobacco.
Is Rape? Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, children under the ages,
No, it's tobacco. Maybe with
Yeah.
Cal is Rape.
Uh-huh.
They used to use that a lot on that time.
what?
Yeah.
The-
Powder tobacco.
yeah, it
Oh,
was
sorry, Mexican Iron Man once saw that sometime at a pool party. I thought it was something else. Sorry, my bad.
No, that fancy of a box for that, I don't think so.
Make sure you subscribe to our channel, everybody. Midnight Edge Espanol, as well as all the Midnight Edge channels. God, this guy's language is so. I can imagine being in the theater watching this on a big, huge, on the silver screen, as they say. You know, you just went from rooting for the good guy to this guy. You're like, ah.
But you know, this scene is the prototype, right? For every action hero going forward of having alter egos like nerds, like even this reminds me a little of what Bruce Lee did in Chinese Connection when he played all those nerdy roles to get into the dojo and do his recon. You know, he played the nerdy telephone guy, he played the rickshaw guy, and then he came in and killed everyone. I'm just saying, this is an extraordinary performance.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary movie. But yeah, everything about it is amazing. That is why I keep on talking about how good and how important this movie is.
My God, look at her face.
Yeah. Okay, he needs
Not
to do a
impressed
magic
again.
trick.
God, I felt. Okay, dude, you need to come back with a
You
Ferrari.
felt that one, didn't you? Every man watching, they felt that rejection.
Yes. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude. No.
I'm not saying it's happened to Mexican Iron Man once, but it may have happened 1,000 times to Mexican Iron Man. That's what I'm saying.
So this is a carriage. I mean, it looks.
Look how authentic it is. Someone handcrafted that. Look at the wheels. Those wheels are 50 to 100 years old.
Wow.
Those wheels are 500 to 1,000 pounds. That set. Look at them. They're
That
thick.
too.
They're solid.
And again, those were the wheels that were at the time. I mean, the wheels that we have today with rubber and metal, they couldn't afford that at that time, 200 years ago. They didn't have that then.
Not only that, have you noticed they're using the carriage as a way to show that, yes, they were from an important family, but they can't afford a carriage like the one Diego came in? Because that's a very simple one.
Very subtle way. That's a whole
Nice.
Yeah,
Excellent,
very good
Diego.
observation.
Excellent point, Diego. Good job, buddy.
Excellent point.
There'll be an extra piñata in your mailbox in the staff lounge after the show.
Yay.
It's virtual. Don't get too excited. It's virtual.
Still, something.
Yeah. And also, we said about the rejection. Athala also pointed out that I'm a woman. I felt that. She was so not pleased.
Ooh. She also had another comment that says, this actor is fantastic. He's so meek, but we know he can just leap into the mantelpiece. This guy here must be on a steel reinforced saddle, that guy.
If you notice, his horse is just slightly bigger than the rest.
Yeah, it needs to be.
Oh, here's the town, and look at all the people.
Wow,
The
look at that
friars.
set.
That's awesome. Look at the little niños.
Where the hell did they film this?
Probably here in LA. At that time, it was still pretty provincial.
Yeah, again,
A lot of
this was filmed in the early 1920s when this was filmed. They started, it was all set together in record time.
God, they got like 30 horses.
Oh, yeah, that is an Arabian breed.
Whoa. Whoa, Bambino. Whoa.
So this is actually one of the best historical records of what California looked like 200 years ago, even if it was filmed 100 years ago. And again, here we have the false accusations and how tyrannical the authorities and the courts are, how it's corrupt, can't really be trusted. They'll even convict a priest that is falsely accused.
Well, not much has changed in California lately, like Andre said earlier. I mean, I don't know. Look at this guy.
But I mean, look at the detail on that, on what they're all wearing.
And also know this, I'm the wrong kind of person. I have the wrong kind of beliefs. Therefore, I am guilty in the eyes of the accusers. How similar is that to today?
Scary.
Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani just got his license suspended in New York for free speech.
Nobody expects the woke Inquisition. That's the truth.
Now, I have a question, Andre. I don't... Oh, no, hold on.
And then he's convicted to being lashed, which was the custom at the time. An old man and a priest.
God, look at that scene right there.
Look at
Look at the people there.
Yeah,
It's like-
all horrified, and how he is worried, but at the same time dignified.
Mhm.
Wait, they used to whip you for free? No, you have to pay an extra.
Yeah, but you have to pay because there's like a safety word. That's what you're paying
Yes.
for.
You pay for the
Hey,
safety
Andre,
word, no?
I told you that in confidence, bro. Andre, that was supposed to be between you and me. I said, don't let Paulie and the boys know.
Well, you outed yourself there. Well, this is the general thing.
Run, brother, run. Don't let them see you.
Okay, whipping a cleric is a high scene. People will be trying to hang the military there.
Uh-huh.
His Excellency. That means the Spanish king, right?
No, his like more like noble or lord.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Su
basically
Excelencia, your higher being.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Something like
It's
that.
you superior than me. It's anyone that is above a certain rank is their
Oh.
excellency.
Huh.
So a person of authority, like a local military commander who has the authority to really mess you up and get away with it, is your excellency.
Wow. So power really is distributed. No wonder the Spanish took so many lands so fast. Basically, you're a king, and then there's many kings, or as an M-I-N-I. Not
There's
M-A.
different names for it, but
Yeah.
but in effect, viceroys. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which in Spanish would be
that was
basically
the governor.
uh-huh.
Virrey o incluso senescales tenían ese nivel
Mhm.
de control.
Their Mexican Iron Man is doing his taxes and accounting when danger calls. Oh, sorry. That was my inside voice, guys. Sorry. What, this movie came out in 1920.
Came out in 1920.
November 27th.
Yeah. And it all came to, and that's like 1 year after the story was published. So it came together really quickly.
Woodrow Wilson, Darth Plato. Woodrow Wilson. Darth Plato asked who was the president when this came out, and it was Woodrow Wilson.
And there, look at the priest. He can barely stand up.
Okay, I
Whereas,
got San Fernando Valley, where it was filmed.
Look at the
Wow.
soldier. Look, he's
So-
still trying to show respect.
San Fernando Valley is basically on the other side of the Hollywood Hills.
That soldier is Diego's father.
Oh,
Yeah.
did not notice at the moment.
No, it was the capataz.
I think it was the Polito, the
Uh-huh.
father of
Polito?
Polito. So
Okay.
I think it was. I don't. I didn't catch it, but I think it might have been.
And so comes the reckoning, ladies and gentlemen.
So comes the reckoning.
Yes.
Also, like the little words they put, like they say magistrado, or when the servant said duena instead of saying, a guardian.
Uh-huh.
Now, interestingly enough, it says Pasada del Camino Real. The Camino Real still exists in California. It's not as easy to trace as it was in the olden days, but parts of Highway 1 and 101 go up and down the state that trace the Camino Real. And if you go to somewhere, say, for example, there still are old missions that have been preserved in different parts of the state that you can visit as a tourist.
Most of
And
them are
back
still
in the
there.
day,
San
those
Juan.
missions were I didn't mean to interrupt, Polly, but just like those were the local authorities were divided, was around the missions.
Mm-hmm. Especially in Spanish territory.
Yeah, and look there comes the punishment. The magistrate that sentenced the vicar to be lashed, now he's the one getting lashed.
Now we reach out to His Excellency, right?
Yeah, that was His Excellency who was there being lashed.
What did they say in that one movie, Shawshank? The Lord cometh, and that right soon. Justice cometh, and that right soon. Darth Plato mentions there's an old mission near, like the one I'm talking about, near him. Darth Plato, throw in chat what, well, you don't have to dox yourself, but I assume it's in California. But yeah, there's missions up and down. In fact, Santa Clara University, the mission is inside the campus, which is where I lived for so many years. The house I bought in California that I gave to my ex-wife, she still lives in it, and it's just not 3 blocks from the mission. It's beautiful, gorgeous, great place to get married. I didn't get married there, but it's a great place to get married.
You were saved.
No,
No, I'm married, divorced, and then yeah, the one I was saved from was the ex-fiance. The second time I tried to go for it, thank God I was saved. Yeah, that's right. I was saved, not by Zorro, but maybe by the inner spirit of a Norwegian Zorro. I don't know.
or your own inner fortitude of the Mexican Iron Man. That's the most important
Yes,
thing.
Andre, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. These two guys.
And there, Pulido, because now he was out of favor already, and it's only getting worse and worse for him. And that's, of course, because he was humiliated in front of her by Zorro. He knows he can never have her now.
Well, I gotta have a
So
talk with the guy.
now they must be punished. So he's spreading lies.
Look at the dastardly look. At the home of Don Diego's father, we now travel. Do.
Before you could Netflix and chill,
Holy crap, look at that.
you had to make your own entertainment.
The original Hulu. Look at that. What the?
Also, notice how that was filmed, zooming in almost like a TV screen. Now it keeps himself entertained.
Ah, that is weird, huh? I guess they
And the
just pulled
shadow
back.
play.
Uh-huh.
Funny enough, this was the poor man's shadow play because a rich man would have the little paper puppets and sticks.
Oh,
The
yeah.
original green screen, ladies and gentlemen. The original green screen. Rick Sanchez, the original Alfredo Hitchcock. Alfredo Hitchcock Reguez.
Señorita Lolita has refused me.
Well,
Like,
welcome to
Father
the
is,
party,
of course,
buddy.
very disappointed with his
Son.
boring, lifeless joke of a son who has all this money, but he has no fire, no passion, no pasión that any good Latino man is expected to have.
Correcto.
Yeah, a little more jalapenos in the diet might help that out, buddy.
Bernardo there.
Yeah, put some more jalapenos in our good buddy's diet there. Look at that outfit. All these outfits must have cost a fortune. Uh-oh. Back at the Bat Hacienda.
But yeah, but you are of course right. This is the proto Wayne Manor with the Zorro cave underneath that would evolve into the Bat Cave. That is exactly what this is. This is the prototype. This is the proto Bat Cave right here.
We never let business interfere with our drinking. I like that mentality.
Well, a little more
And again-
focused there, Pablito.
And again, that is how the Diegos always stays one step ahead of them. These are the soldiers are poor men. Buy them drink. Get them talking.
You know
Always
my
be one
wine
step in front.
cellars. Help yourself. Okay.
Also, have you noticed that at the beginning when Diego was trying to get the information, he had his glass of wine and he got the sergeant beer. So now that the Alejandro's offering his cellars with some of the most expensive wines that possibly could get, this is a chance they'll never let loose.
Exactly. They get to be inside the hacienda that they never get to be inside otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
The journey from the village has fatigued me. Okay. All right, beta guy. Yeah, you try carrying your chihuahua down the street when it doesn't want to walk anymore. That'll fatigue you. Oh, sorry. Inside voice again. Sorry.
And of course, for the father, huge embarrassment with such a weak son.
Well, you better not be a YouTuber then, buddy. If late hours will fatigue you.
More like politely saying, I do not want to spend time with you, Dad.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, how did I raise this moron?
Look of disappointment and despair.
I
How
imagine.
did I? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how many parents currently, of wealthy families have
what it
kids like
says.
that?
Yeah. Sent to Spain and educated and his blood turned to water. He has to excuse his son in front of the soldiers that there's no need to.
God, with like 20 guys like that, he must have popped up in 4 or 5 bottles. Jesus.
But these guys, they're not just soldiers. I think that these are also like the other local.
They're the other local dons.
Not soldiers. Yes, the other local dons.
Yes. Oh no!
Hello.
Oh no!
They are the other dons. That's what they are.
With gun in hand.
Who is this guy, and why does he have the same mustache as the other guy? Oh no, I can't tell.
And of course, he gets them rattled, tells them some truths. You
There's
rich
not a
guys
lot-
sit here with your wine while there's misery and suffering going on around you.
Andre, Golgo 13 says, it's Midnight Edge in Espanol 3000. You know, like, you remember
only
like that show?
we have better movies.
Yeah, we have better movies.
Ooh, have you seen what he said?
Oh!
That's basically saying you act Spanish when you're not.
Yeah.
And also notice he talks to them like
Oh.
you are all noble, and so am I. So freaking act like it.
And this is a good part. I pledge my bloods as noble as the best. Yeah, they're caballeros. That means they are the other dons, the other ranch owners of the area. The ranchos.
Yeah. The people with the money,
Yeah.
the establishment, the 1%. They are the only ones that actually have the influence to do something with the authorities.
Many people forget long before. I mean, the United States was originally built that you had to own land in order to vote.
Uh-huh. It's like
Look at
it was a weird system. And that actually continued for many years in all Latin America.
Yes.
Get them buzzed and sell them.
I guess the idea was if you hold possession of a piece of this land, you should be able to decide what happened on the general terrain, but I don't get really how they managed to make it work.
Well, it didn't last for long.
Yep.
Yeah, Noethal also points out, can you imagine someone saying this at the governor's dinner party during the coup last year?
No.
No, but the caballeros at the time, they were still a little bit closer to actual nobility. They still had some level of honor. Today, they have had 200 more years to become decrepit and corrupt themselves.
Right.
Also, the issue at that time, nobility used to make you, force you into helping others and working for others, because nobility obliged. the cleric will actually see that you help the
Yeah.
poor and everything. So a different time.
A lot of people confuse caballero and vaquero. That's true.
Mhm.
That's why Mexican Iron Man works. I start the day morning as a vaquero, but when I get the suit on, I become a caballero.
Logan Perkins points out it's rather simple. If you were the one paying the property taxes, there generally was no income or sales tax. You should decide how the money is spent. Exactly, which is why the authorities listened to the landowners, to the dons,
Yeah.
who were part of the real power structure. They didn't execute it, but the authorities, proper authorities, couldn't rule without the at least tacit support of the dons. And there you have the poor Polidos, now dressed, and they're thrown into the jail with all the rabble. And also notice a difference in like just clothing, demeanor, and everything. How far the Polidos have fallen. Remember, though they are nobility, they just fell out of favor. So they are dons without money, and that's not going to go very well.
No sirree, Bob or Roberto. No sirree, Roberto. I forgot my minutes as Espanol.
That's my second name. I'm Pablo Roberto.
Look at those capes they have. Aren't those cool? Man, they got some cool outfits in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, how we've devolved. And again, the plotting. Zorro is organizing the resistance. But the resistance, and this is like the cool thing, the movie, or even the original story, was smart enough to know that in order to institute any kind of real change, you have to get the money behind you. You have to align yourself with the people with the power to actually make something happen, not just with the people. They were the ones oppressed to begin with.
That's a brilliant observation. You know, that point comes through in the book, I think, a little bit more, definitely more pronounced, because it doesn't happen as quick as this, but it happens.
Yeah, no, because of course, like if you were to adapt it literally, it would be like an 8-hour movie.
Yeah.
But still, in terms of condensing a fairly sizable book into just a movie like this, I'm amazed at how good a job they did in the adaptation.
And Rick Sanchez is asking how long used to be movies on the 1920s. They used to be way less longer than this one.
Yeah.
This is an hour 40, and I have seen a lot
This
of
is an
silent movies.
epic.
Yeah. From that time will be 20 minutes at best.
Basically, this was the Lord of the Rings of its time and lengthwise.
Yeah. No, movies would at this time movies would generally be little more than an hour.
The Keaton movies are 20-25 minutes in general.
Yeah, but they are shorts.
Yep.
They're not meant to be feature films. They were like shorts that were like typical double billings and stuff.
Oh.
Whereas a feature film like this, typically about from 1 hour to 1 hour 20 minutes would be the normal runtime. 90 minutes would be a slightly longer movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the reason why, for example, even independent movies, they still call them feature films, because it's from that time, because most independents are about an hour long.
Yeah.
Largometraje y cortometraje, como decimos acá.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Or typically it would be like, for instance, in one showing, you would begin with a couple of shorts first, and then came the actual feature, the epic that you came to see.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for instance, the like all those Disney shorts from the 30s to 1950s, they would be the kind of thing that you would start the movie off with. You would have that first, and then came the proper movie afterwards.
Uh-huh. I mean, that's why, for example, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella. When I watched it the other day, like about 2 years ago, I noticed how short it was.
Yeah, and that was a normal runtime at this time. So this was Lord of the Rings at the time, at closer to 2 hours to 90 minutes.
And there was
So
no
this was an
intermission.
epic, and no, there was also no intermission. So this was an epic in every sense of the word. And there he comes to the rescue. And there she truly is a damsel in distress, but not the kind of distress that you more stereotypically have. It's the distress of someone that has lost everything and is now reliant on him. Let's keep in mind, she has nothing. She is an outsider of the law. They have been stripped of their property. All she has is her name. Same with her family. They have their name, but that's the only thing worth anything. Beyond that, they have nothing.
Yeah, nobility used to be quite cruel at that time. Even with a good name, if you don't have anything to offer, they don't give a crap.
Exactly. So their only hope was the daughter. No matter what they had before, didn't meet or anything. The only thing that was good with them was they had the daughter, and she still had a good name that could be used for marriage, and that was it. And here, of course, comes like the excitement of the movie, the tension. Usually, Zorro is the one that has always been 1 or 2 steps ahead. But now, for the first time since we saw Captain Ramon being able to steal the plans, he knows the Caballeros are united with Zorro. He knows they are going to meet. Now, for the first time, Zorro is not in charge of the situation. That is new. That is the tension that is about to come. Now he's going to have to improvise. So notice how it's sped up here for action, for tension, because now you have a more tense scene. Now they're actually coming to get Zorro, and it's a threat this time, because he doesn't know. They're going to catch him unawares.
The original mafia rat. There's a rat in the nest.
Yep.
In this case, wouldn't it be more like there's incompetence? Because
yeah, it's more like incompetence, because no one leaked deliberately. It was just like the captain was smart enough to realize these guys are plotting. I'm going to take that note that I saw them passing around.
That's true. You're right. You're right. I love the and here's another great plot subtlety. He told his guys to show up masked with horses that are black, so automatically that's going to let them know whose team. You know what I mean? That's the home jerseys. You know.
And to think the landscape that we're seeing there is what most of the landscape at the time in California looked like. So that wasn't too difficult to find.
even when chased, he is ever the
Ever the trickster.
and
Yep.
the taunter.
Un galante cabrón.
First California firefighter, looks like. So dusty.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of still classic Spanish style architecture in and around Los Angeles. Some beautiful old buildings are still around.
Yeah.
Hotel California.
Hotel California. Yep.
And there the Pulidos have been rescued. Apart from their daughter, where is Lolita? A name which there at this time were absolutely no negative connotations with. That only came after a certain Russian writer and Stanley Kubrick. Look at that freaking stunt.
Oh my God! How much did they use stuntmen back in the day? All the time?
Not so often.
That looked like it was him.
They mostly would have used their own stunts at this time, just like Buster Keaton and everything. No one had thought of the idea of a stuntman. It was kind of like just taken for
So he
granted.
really was like a Tom Cruise of the day.
Yeah, I'm not joking when I say that.
Holy shit, Andre! I didn't really catch that, or when you made the point earlier. Oh my God! No wonder he must have been so popular.
Have you noticed the fact that he broke his sword fighting the other guy, and he still just continued the action?
Okay, did you notice that he fell off that whole fence, concrete barrier wall, whatever, landed in boots, and he's okay? Meanwhile, Mexican Iron Man couldn't get out of his own kitchen that was flooded without breaking a leg.
Is that how it happened? Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad it was. I'm glad it was nothing less dramatic than that. But look at
Yeah,
that jump.
Andre, my kitchen flooded. I made a left turn to get some water. Didn't have the lights on. It was 3 a.m. I was up in the middle of the night, and I didn't turn the lights on. And my dumbass left sock got stuck on the dishwasher. And the rest of my body kept going and crack.
Yeah, I messed up my knee in a similar fashion to that. Only it involved fighting. But yeah.
Yeah, no, mine was not. I was fighting with the water faucet. Look at that! Whoa!
Look at these freaking stunts.
Get out of here!
I mean,
That guy, that was probably wasn't.
It looked like Mexican Iron Man right there in the kitchen when he got stuck. That's what I look like.
That's probably. I bet you that was a guy that really got stuck, and they let the camera go, and they just continued having it there.
and I was gonna say Douglas Fir, he was very athletic. If you see pictures of him, not without his shirt, it's like this dude was built.
He was a very, very fit acrobatic man. I mean, just look at that jumping. I mean, most people today, they jump from that height, they're going to break an ankle or something.
Yeah, Mexican Iron Man isn't even jumping from the third stair in the stairwell down to the laundry room these days. It's no.
So I take you have never had to run away from a father from a balcony?
No. No, I wasn't. No. Oh my God, look at that. Look how high up he is. Run, pigs, run. Look, the poor pigs, they're scared. They're like, they see the swords coming. They think it's going to be a carne asada taco roast.
Look at him go, like Jackie Chan.
Son of a bitch. Oh, sorry, Andre. Sorry. Oops.
No, but no need to apologize. Also, look, where's the security net?
Holy crud.
Not only that, he's wearing the friar suit, right? It limits you. That limits you a lot.
Gosh, now I feel guilty for having an Iron Man suit.
People at that time were real freaking men. They were all Iron Man with no suits.
Yeah. Whoa, no way.
Yeah.
If we weren't on I'm watching this later and I'm replaying this thing. This thing is out of control.
Yeah, it's crazy good.
There's a phrase they say in Spanish, macho que se respeta.
Macho que se respeta. Exactamente.
How would you describe that? It'd be like
Look at the frustration of Gonzalez.
A manly man.
Look at Gonzalez. Yeah, like manly man. But yeah, look at the frustration of Gonzalez and everyone. Like also the slapstick humor.
Yeah, I couldn't do that even in my younger days. That's not happening. No.
In my grandfather's time, they used to go do andinismo. That's climbing mountains. They used to box, go for hikes. And that
again, they were real men back in those days. And that's what we see here. I mean, these people here in the 1920s, 30s, they would kick the ass out of anyone living. It doesn't matter how much MMA they do. These were just sturdier men.
Yeah.
I remember my grandfather.
I'll bet
telling
none
me,
of these guys would have a Twitter account. That's for sure.
No, my grandfather used to tell me that he will take his bike and go 20 kilometers to the place where they used to box. They had a small ring to box between gentlemen, and that was it.
And that was probably bare knuckle fighting too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. Meaning it was far more brutal than boxing would be later on.
Those were the times, man.
And again, as Paulie said, the music from there, and also the books from there. When you had people like that and the kind of fiction they wrote, that's what gave us Zorro. That's what gave us Conan. And also when they did science fiction, that's when you get John Carter of Mars that would inspire Star Wars and everything. Much of modern day pop culture comes from the 80s, but the true blueprint was this age.
Mm-hmm.
And The Hobbit wasn't too far off in the 30s.
No, that also was like same era.
The thing is, you had to do your own enjoyment in life. You didn't have, you go to Twitter and you go to YouTube and you go to Facebook and you have entertainment all the time. At that time, they used to have to make it. So having adventures was a good way to spend your life.
And also look how it works here. You have the action and then you have the romance intermixed. This is something for everyone. This is the romance for the ladies. No, again, look, this woman, she has agency. She's no simple damsel in distress. That's a character right there.
Fake walls and everything. That looks like the home I'm living today.
Nobody else noticed the fact that this is where the Batman trope comes, because most Batman, when he goes into the cave, he goes through a clock.
Or through the...
Fireplace.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. He plays the piano and it opens the fireplace. So, but no, the home that I live in now was made like 100 and something years ago, and it has fake walls and everything. It's an hacienda. It's an old hacienda.
And there, back in character as Don Diego, yawning, backbent, timid. What's this excitement about? The dual identity.
This dual identity, though, is just so stark. It's more meek than Clark Kent. It's definitely not the Bruce Wayne alter ego.
No. I mean, it's not even the Tony Stark alter ego.
No. Well, you know, the term Mexican Iron Man, actually, it's originally my clients used to call me Tony Stark when those movies came out because of my unbelievably, I've been called arrogant, Andre. I know, shocker, right? I know.
I would never have thought.
I blew me away when it came up. Paulie too. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Look at these shots. Look at the sets.
Everything.
Look at the silver. The
Well, I'm kind of accustomed to having all that stuff clutter in the wall, but
Really?
Yeah, my grandmother.
Uh-huh.
Really? So they have like those fancy candelabras and stuff like that.
You have no idea. They have art from Spain that came with the family and they will never let it go, and stuff that they have gotten through the ages.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in my grandma's house, it was basically a requirement that anything that was decoration had to be silver.
Yep.
And actual silver, not just,
exactly.
plated. So it's like...
The gold, you let it for the church, but the silver, you have it at home.
Yeah. And look there now. He's humiliated Don Diego. And there, suddenly,
Oh, see that leap?
there he fired up.
Damn. I'll jack you up.
And everyone is in shock. What the hell is this? This is Diego. He's not supposed to act like that. They're on the couch aside and everything. That's an antique. So is the table.
Oh, look at that.
Toma.
Everyone was like, "What the
Tefilero.
hell? This is the least expected thing ever." Like this guy.
Oh my
can't
God, this is
fight.
just like the lightsaber duel that
Yes.
Mexican Iron Man and Paulie got into. Remember Paulie?
And everyone,
No, not really.
notice Sergeant Gonzalez there in the background.
That's where I
He
fell down.
Schwarzenegger of the movie. Pay attention to him.
Yes.
Notice his acting throughout as he sees how the hell can Diego do this? This is not supposed to happen. Was not in the script. It's kind of like what everyone is saying. He has established himself as the soyest boy of all soy boys there possibly can be. Everyone is in shock. None more than his father.
Oh!
Whoa! Whoa!
Oh no, the reveal!
Zorro forehead.
Uh-oh.
Jeez,
He's one of us and he's got money. Oh no!
My son. Nice.
That's fraud. That's a fraud. That.
Thank God
It's
he's not a
so
loser,
low.
but he is a criminal. Oh no!
What a great story, man.
Yeah.
Man, the read of it.
It's amazing.
Now I want to go read the book again.
Every California noble blood stands. with
Oh,
me.
those were the good old days, huh?
And here,
Uh-oh.
the revolution.
Oh.
And Sergeant Gonzalez is smart to know this is a fight we're not going to pick.
Dark Shadow comments, the first oh shit moment in cinematic history.
And as a gentleman, he knows he has been beat.
Yeah, real quick. And if you guys are just watching or just joining us, rewatch the entire film here on Midnight's Edge Espanol. We have it loaded up for you guys to watch.
And again, notice Gonzalez. He's an oaf, but he's not stupid. He's like, okay, fine. So it was Diego all along. I see where the wind is blowing. He's still my friend. I still want drinks at his house.
Hey! Till I need you again. And
Oh, he kisses the sword. Of course, it's 20 feet up in the air now, but okay.
And the father is
hero.
so proud.
And look at his look at his posture.
And look at this done.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh,
Oh, shit. Wow. I would do that for
And
Salma
now,
Hayek.
notice that his back is no longer as curved. Notice his
Right.
demeanor. Now he can drop the mask. The true character can come out now. The true personality. And I love like Zorro.
Well, Batman's still waiting to get the girl. Oh, look at that. What a great plot twist or plot.
Oh, nice. Oh, I was a gentleman, but then the wind.
That doggone wind. Paulie, open the window. I'm making my move. Diego, turn the fan up higher.
Nice.
no.
That's so cool. Two
That's
fingers.
the manliest move you
Wait.
have ever seen.
Hey!
You guys see what she was doing with her hand just to express even more?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Wow. So in reading up about Douglas Fairbanks, because he did a lot of his own stunts, and then he was a chain smoker, his health deteriorated pretty quickly in the late 20s and early 30s. He died actually pretty young,
Yeah, and
1939.
Also,
19
his career didn't survive the depression
talkie.
because you saw that his persona was of someone really boyish, good-looking, happy, carefree. This was great in the Roaring 20s. Wasn't so great during the Depression era. So then everything kind of collapsed at the same time. But even so, because of this movie, Zorro was revived. We got all the other Zorro movies, Zorro original stories, because of this movie right here. And I think that's honestly the biggest shame with this film. Luckily, it is preserved in the Library of Congress, but I don't think it gets quite enough attention today as one of the greatest movies ever made, which in my opinion, it really is. I mean, think of this. This predates Citizen Kane by 20 years. But we wouldn't have a Citizen Kane without this movie. Without this movie so completely and utterly taking films up to a whole new level that it wasn't before. In addition to what it did to popular culture with Batman and everything that would follow in the wake of this movie. And that's one of my inspirations for doing that retrospective in the first place, was to highlight that. This is one of the greatest movies of all time.
You know, Andre, I think I made the comment, I think it was on the Midnight's Edge, or if it was me in the afternoon, it was about 2 weeks ago, that I had just recently seen Citizen Kane again. I can completely see how so many things that are in that movie came from this. It is it's especially the editing, for sure. The whole concept of the shots and what you shoot and the editing.
Little Hollywood trivia. Him and Mary Pickford were the first to do the feet in the cement at Chinese Theater in 27. And then it looks like later on in Blazing Saddles, there's a moment where Harvey Korman tries to put his feet or match his feet with Fairbanks, and he says, "How did he do all those stunts with such small feet?" That's pretty cool.
But guys, now that we have seen the movie, I'm curious, what did you all think about it? Let's do like some quick reactions, because I take it that for most of you, this is the first time actually watching the movie. Mike, let's begin with you, because you have actually read the book, unlike most of the others here. So you had some expectation going in. You heard my review retrospective.
And your retrospective.
And now you saw this.
Yeah, and your retrospective, actually, after seeing your retrospective in English and in Spanish, I searched the internet. I could not find any better, more complete, and definitely not any more succinct retrospective on anything in Zorro. So anybody who wants to know anything, you have to go watch the Midnight's Edge video, the retrospective that Andre did. And if you want in Spanish and you can understand Spanish, check it out in Spanish. It's equally enriching. Having read the book and seeing this, I am literally blown away. There's so many properties, Andre and Paulie, that I read the book and then I see the movies. Not so much as of late, obviously, but certainly as a young man and as a young adult. There's so many things that I'd read the book and then I'd watch the movie. And there's a few hits, so many misses. But this one here, I got to tell you, it's like taking oranges and squeezing it out and getting that orange juice from a fresh orange. Like, the book is certainly a basket of fresh oranges, if I can use that analogy. And this is definitely a concentrate of that. I mean, I'm at a loss to think of anything that was in the book that isn't here that's major. So I think they did a wonderful job of storytelling. For a new medium to tell the same story in a completely different medium, especially without sound, without a special effects department, because when you're reading the book, it reads like a lot of the great ones out there. You know, it's interesting. I just had a different reaction, a different way. I'm reading Cameron Pasha's book on swords, and the movie Kingdom of Heaven was made. And I love Kingdom of Heaven, even though it's not a particularly great film. But I love the movie. I can watch it anytime. I've probably seen it, 10 times, 20 maybe. But I'm reading his book, and his book is so much more enriching. And I'm having a little bit of a reverse experience there, because I'm like, okay, I saw the movie and it was okay, and I'm reading this amazing book about a similar topical story. Well, here, you read the Capistrano book, bam, you're going to have a great read. And it's a fast read. It's a thick book, but it's a pretty quick read. It has this kind of feeling to it, where it kind of is going, and you want to know what happens next. And I think they did a phenomenal, fantastic job of storytelling. I'm really blessed that it's my first time seeing it. I'm glad that I'm doing it with some of my closest friends, you four guys, and this is great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and also Ethala says in the comments, I did not know this movie even existed. It's amazing. Thank you, Andre and Midnight Edge Espanol, for making me aware of this. Yeah, you're most welcome. And again, that's why, because this movie is so criminally underrated. Like, this should be right up there with Citizen Kane.
Also,
I mean,
I think so.
Besides the the people that obviously are fans of silent films, I think there's a disconnect, with silent film era and then the talkie era, that people just they don't tunnel that far back. The majority, I'm just saying, our community would, but it just got registered a few years ago, correct?
Yes, you mean like in the Library of Congress, 2012, I think it was.
Yeah.
And to everyone that joined us late, just go can rewatch here for the commentary. But for the movie, I don't know, over to Midnight Edge Espanol and see the whole movie with the soundtrack. That's what you really want for the full experience with the amazing, amazing soundtrack.
Yeah, please do so on our channel. It helps our hours, and wow, we have so many people here in the chat. 50 people watching our little channel grow. Thank you for being a part of this. This is great. What it made me think of as well. I mean, besides Fairbanks is just awesome physical presence in his acting and all the stunts, is the world upon it drew from. And how California was set up, back then with the ranchos and the haciendas system, but for better for worse, so it was really great. It's really great. It's like you almost never get enough. You want to see another one, or almost see a Joaquin Murrieta movie. At this point, why do another Zorro? Do a Joaquin Murrieta film.
Yes, I agree completely.
Mm-hmm.
Pablo, Diego?
Diego, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Because also there was something that I wanted to comment that also Paulie mentioned about how people will not maybe go and see the silent films, the disconnect. And just to put into perspective, when I was, I looked up the movie, I put the Mark of Zorro. The first search up result that comes is the 1941, not the 1921.
Yeah, and that is also another great movie. But still, I feel that the 1921 is more important because it set the template for everything to come. The 1940 is another great movie, but it didn't do anything new. It was the same story told with sound, and in many ways more impressive, other ways less impressive. Like, for instance, doesn't have as impressive stunts. It has more impressive sword fights, but it didn't do anything radically new to push the medium of film forward in the way that this did. Also, it didn't inspire Batman and all of those things. That influence had already happened from this movie.
Also, the fact that not only the influence, like what I saw a lot in the movie, of pop culture in general, but there's so many things that I, being Peruvian, okay, I can see and I can still identify with till this day in the culture, how they took care about what they were representing. I mean, the fact of how they decorated the houses, the architecture, how they properly used it. There's certain things that because Peru was also like a bastion of Spanish rule in South America, like Mexico was in the north, it's sort of, there's those cultural elements that still remain and still helps us connect, even though we're so far apart. And it's that's what I loved about this movie. I could see, and it's I can still feel connected to it, even though it's a story about people more from from the northern part, from Mexico and those parts, and California. It's in theory you shouldn't be as connected, but still I feel connected to it as much as I can, especially in the part of the culture. And aside from the geek, it's just the history of it. It's so important and so connected to me. I feel identified with it in so many ways. Pablo.
Yeah, as I said, this reminds me architecturally, well, the way a lot of things are in the sets reminds me to my personal life, to the house of my abuelito, and the way they handle everything on the screen is amazing. As Andre said, there was no close-ups, there was nothing like that before, and here you see almost things that inspired not only superheroes, but you are seeing things that inspired terror films. The close-up on the old man at the beginning, that inspired a lot of different images on horror films in the future. And the fight scenes are amazing, the costumes are amazing, the artillery, the swords are real. First of all, those swords are real. They have nothing to prevent them from harming someone other than being dull. But the point is still there, and the fighting was perfect. La esgrima, man, that's something that you don't see anymore. So I love this movie. I love everything on this movie. It's crazy good.
Yeah. It really is.
The question
so
there,
underrated.
Andre, in regards to the color of his costumes, was this close to it, or is this just did they make up with this poster we have?
No, that's how it looked like on set. Blue and
Wow.
red.
Wow.
Like it looked more like a luchador on set. But again, in black and white, it appeared black on screen. So that is the image that stuck, and not how he looked in the original book or how he looked on the poster and on set. And honestly, I think that we wouldn't have had Zorro were it not for that complete black look, which came simply as a consequence of the sparkly colored costume being appearing black on screen.
Yeah, here is more like in this poster is more like a pirata, a pirate. He looks kind of out of place, but then you see it on black, and on black feels perfect. On the movie, on black and white, feels just right. And I don't know if we ever had this version on color, if it will be that important or that inspiring to next generations, or it will be something that just fled, just disappear on the ether. I kind of like the pirate look, don't get me wrong, but black is way better.
Yes, I agree completely. It wouldn't have been the same with those colors. I don't think so. The movie would still have been amazing, but I don't think that Zorro would be remembered today had it not been for the black and white and just how visually memorable that was, or that is.
Yep.
Because that costume sticks out today in a best possible way.
That's a good point. Dang.
But it was a bit more Latino, though. If you see the colors, it looks a lot more Latino, a lot more Mexican or South American.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've seen the 40 version, but I like this 20 version better.
Yeah. I prefer the 20 version to it.
I'd seen the 40 version. In fact, I'd seen it a couple times. And I love it. I mean, I liked it, but I hadn't seen this 1921 until today. In fact, I didn't even know it existed until I heard Andre's retrospective, frankly. I didn't know there was a 20th version.
Jesse Miller says that he liked the Antonio Banderas. It was good.
It was a very, very good movie, too.
It was great.
Well, as we wrap it up, I know a lot of people in the chat were talking about other potential movies doing the Black Pirate or the General. I'm thinking, and we will discuss, but to keep it in connection with Midnight's Edge Español, perhaps the 1925 Ben-Hur with Mexican star Ramon Novarro playing Ben-Hur, and which was a huge huge feat as well. Epic adventure drama. But we'll talk, but this was a lot of fun.
This is great, man.
Yeah.
This is. I'm really glad you guys put this together. And I tell you, watching the retrospective adds a hell of a lot to it too. So guys, watch the retrospective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think the retrospective was the first time I've ever seen like anywhere where it mentions how far back the Zorro goes to. Because I think most people right now, if you ask them about Zorro, most likely they'll name either the 90s one, the cartoons, or maybe the 70s one. Now, they're not going to mention something as far back as the 40s or 1920s.
Right.
In most cases.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
But the 1921 to me is the single most important because that started everything.
Yeah. By the way, as I recall, the Banderas film was not about the original Zorro. It was the successor of the Zorro. So it's a mantle passing.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah. Anthony Hopkins was a
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
was the elder Don Diego de la Vega, whereas Antonio Banderas' character was the brother of Joaquin
Murrieta, yeah.
Murrieta, thank you, who was actually one of the real life inspirations for Zorro, which is very, very cool. And also, there's plenty precedent in the original stories for that, of a changing of mantle, just as you later saw with Batman. Just as Bruce Wayne is always the first Batman, he isn't necessarily the last. And just as Don Diego de la Vega is always the first Zorro, he isn't necessarily the last.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in Pulp, there was another character that had this passing of the mantle, the Phantom.
Yes.
Every time a
He was
Phantom
the one
died,
that perfected it.
exactly, somebody will take the role because the Phantom needs to be there. The Phantom that walks needs to be there, is part of everything. And later you have all the mystical elements that they added, but before that it was just, we need a caballero to be there to stand against evil.
Mm-hmm. Also, have you noticed the fact of the change of the name of the family? Because here is Diego Vega, and then after along the years it changes to Diego de la Vega.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is because Vega is not so royally family, let's say, but De La Vega is like one of my family's name, De La Torre, is a royally name. Is a more Spaniard royal kind of name. So yeah, they changed it only because that's that aesthetic, I think. I'm not sure, but maybe that.
Yeah. No, I also think so too, that the name was made more noble by later iterations, because one has to keep in mind that the original author of Zorro, you would think that he's a Chicano, but he isn't. He wasn't at all. So his writing, however extremely authentic it was, that's one of the things that I think was fixed later by changing the name from Don Diego Vega to Don Diego de la Vega, making him all the more, if not royal, then just emphasizing the fact that he belongs in the absolute upper echelons of society.
Yes.
He's a 1%er, and that is something you communicate more clearly with the name Don Diego de la Vega than just Vega.
Yeah.
On a historical note, and this was dramatized by Luis Valdez, who did La Bamba, Zoot Suit, was the bandit Terbucio Vasquez, who was I believe the last man to be hung in California, and that musical and play was called Bandido, and you can still see those perform. You can still it's like a teleplay. We can try to find that. But his death was made famous, and he was kind of like in the vein of he was more Hollywood. A lot of his hideouts and everything was kind of like in a Hollywood area. So he was a little more flamboyant, but right before he was to be hung, and they had any last words, and he said "pronto."
Manly.
Yep. Terbucio Vasquez. I mean, we need to cover these legends based on people. They're just fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down.
Órale.
Absolutely.
Pronto.
That would be awesome.
And there's a lot of stories from that time and even earlier that we should try to make a movie somehow. For example, there's this legend here in Ecuador, La Caja Ronca, that is crazy good for a horror film. And nobody's, I guess is primary Spanish story that has been modified for every country. Every country has La Llorona, every country has a friar that falls in love and goes to hell. That's something common on Catholic countries that had a Spaniard influence. But those stories are great for horror films, for action films, and nobody's touching them. And it's a shame. It's a real shame.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many stories untold that should be told instead of remaking Disney classics from the 30s,
Yes.
for instance. But yeah, that's just a matter of gathering the funding and doing it ourselves.
What first Midnights Desde Español can document and entertain la gente with these legends that over generations and over time we continue to reinvent, dare I say, reimagine Zorros and King Kongs and all this stuff. It's this amazing entertainment of our superheroes.
Yes.
Well, I don't mean to be a jerk, but being the executive producer guy, kind of the accountant, can we get monetized first and then go from there before we start doing movies? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
just
So
a thought from the accounting and finance department over here. So
yeah. So on that note, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's watching here today. It really helps us out. If you just happen to drop in and you haven't subscribed, please do that. Please help share the stream and also share the movie itself, which we have uploaded to Midnight's Edge Espanol. Share the good word and share the retrospective of it, which is available both in English and in Spanish, and help spread the word of this great underrated classic, and at the same time increase our watch hours and everything like that, so that we can get monetized, because that's the moment when YouTube starts actually recommending the channel to random passersby. So yeah.
Más pronto. But además, I would like to extend that as well, and to reiterate that, share all the videos we have. We have some great content, videos in Spanish and our live shows. But this is now, just check the numbers, now our most watched live event on the channel.
That's good to hear.
Cool.
Yeah. Paulie, you and the boys keep doing more and more improvements every week as you guys have stewarded this thing from when the kickoff that you and Andre did. So I think things are going in the right direction. Hope everybody's having fun.
We are, and I know Diego and Pablo, you have tell the chat of the two videos you guys are working up on.
Well, first one, it's one where Pablo and I were working together. This one, we're going to be talking about Tenoch Huerta and his career, because of his recent, well, not that recent, but announcement that he will be Namor, the Submariner. And we sort of wanted to do a little retrospective of his career as to why we believe it's actually a very good casting for Namor.
Excellent. ¿Qué más, Pablito? Oh, we lose Pablito.
He's on mute right now.
Yeah, también
sorry.
tenemos un documentario de un cubano, ¿no? Pablo?
Yep. Pero that one is Diego's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's doing that one.
Yeah,
solo.
I'm still working on the notes on that.
Okay,
one.
so really quick, guys, we're doing a retrospective on Tenoch Huerta's career. Also, we're going to review a brand new documentary of a Cuban exile in Espanol. We have one with T-shirted historian that he did in English for my other channel. But this is about Cuban political exile, George Duarte. Very powerful. So we got some interesting stuff here, guys. What else, Pablito?
Sobre eso, I guess we were talking about doing some other stuff on the background, but I don't know if I should say it right now. Something to do with Chespirito. That's coming, and we are going to enjoy. I want to show people, the classic Chespirito specials. We have Snow White. Yes, there was a Latino Snow White a long time ago on 83. And it's just amazing, the quality, the songs, everything, and it's a comedy. So, for example, the Mirror will play beer ads. It's just crazy. It's wonderful. It's weird, and I want to show it to everyone. And yes, I also want to do something with Cantinflas, but as I said, we need to still set it up. It's coming. It's coming soon.
Great stuff here. So yeah, that's what we got, and we're live every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. Thank you guys very much. Mexican Iron Man and Andre, want to say anything as we say goodbye?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everyone for watching, and also more videos translated from the main channel into Spanish will also be forthcoming very, very soon. 2 are in the works, and there will be many more.
Yeah, and we have interviews with actors and filmmakers and musicians up in Spanish right now as we speak on the channel, including Mrs. Slant is I hear a very popular video with in Espanol con Diego and Romy Diaz.
It's an excellent video.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias, gente. We will see you soon. Pronto.
Nos vemos.
Hasta allá.